Good morning, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. I just landed back in Florida from Israel, and we're now in the month of Elul, which I merited to greet at the Kotel with the blasting of the shofar every day. And the month of Elul is a collective self-improvement month, when the entire Jewish nation works on self-development. We examine our lives, our actions, our deeds, we take stock. We look forward to the new year and we ask ourselves, how can we improve? And as they say, live our best life. And there's an amazing intersection between the opening of this week's Torah portion and the month of Elul. The opening verse of this week's Torah portion basically says, don't defund the police. But let me explain. The opening verse says, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha b'chol sharecha, that the Jewish community must establish judges and police officers in every community, judges to decide the proper course, the law, and the police officers to enforce it. However, the commentaries explain that the verse says, Titen lecha, you should appoint for yourself. And what it's telling us is that it's not enough to appoint communal judges and officers for there to be proper conduct, behavior, morals, ethics in society. But every person has to appoint it for themselves. What does this mean? So our rabbis say, in all your courts, in all your gateways, in all your entrances, what does that mean? The human being has many entrances, gateways to their soul, to their heart, to their mind. And those are your eyes, your ears, your mouth. And therefore you have to appoint, self-appoint judges and officers at your own personal gateways, meaning that you have to judge, what am I seeing with my eyes? What am I looking at? What am I focusing on? What am I listening to? What am I hearing? What am I taking in? And what about my mouth? What am I saying? What are my words like? Am I speaking positive or negative? And what am I eating? Am I eating kosher or non-kosher? Am I listening to good things, positive words? Or am I listening to Lashon Hara? Am I looking at things that are appropriate or inappropriate? And that's the message. Appoint judges and officers for yourself at your own gateways, at your own personal entrances. That is the main work, the main focus of the month of Elul for self-development. There's a story told about someone who became an apprentice in the old days. He wanted to learn how to be a wagon driver, and he studied under an expert wagon driver, and finally said, okay, can I get my certificate that I'm qualified to be a wagon driver? And he said, yeah, but I have to ask you a question first. He says, okay, what's the question? He says, you're going on a road with passengers and you decide you want to take a shortcut, and you take some uncharted road and it's muddy and your wheels get stuck in the mud. What do you do to get out of the mud? And he says, well, what do? You get out of the wagon, you find some wooden boards, you put them under the wheels, you try to get some traction, and then you pull yourself out of the mud. And the expert wagon driver said, no, that's not what you do. He says, really, what am I supposed to do? He says, you make sure that when you're looking for shortcuts in life, you don't take a muddy road in the first place. And that's the message of judges and officers. Yes, once you're stuck in the mud, it's very difficult to extricate yourself from it. But the real lesson in life is, yes, we're all looking for shortcuts. We want to succeed. We want to accomplish. We want to be happy. But never take a shortcut that will lead you down a muddy road. Make sure you don't get stuck in the mud in the first place. So on a practical level, if somebody in the synagogue is known to speak during the prayers, don't sit next to that person. Don't go down that road. If you're in the company of people who are dishonest, they may engage you in dishonest activities. Don't engage with them, or other behaviors. If someone is known to be a gossiper, don't sit next to that person. Don't associate. Don't go down a muddy road. Protect your eyes, your ears, your mouth. Make sure you surround yourself with good and positive influences. And that's the message of judges and officers you shall place in all of your gates. Coming back from Israel, if I have to summarize what I've seen, what I've heard, what I experienced there, is the feeling of the Jewish nation. That before October 7th, we were walking down a muddy path. There was division, there was strife, there was Jew against Jew, tragically, sadly. And now the message rings loud and clear from every sector, from every community, from every person you meet. It says we have to be united. Every single billboard says, B'yachad ninatzeach, only through unity we will be victorious. We are a small nation, we must stand together, and there is no difference between one Jew and the other. We're all the same, we're all equal, and we all have to treat each other with the proper respect. Yes, let us forge a happy new path in our personal lives, in our communal lives, and for the Jewish people, and through the merit of that, yes, we will be victorious, not just against our enemies, but be victorious, be triumphant in every single aspect of our lives. Shabbat Shalom.